Hey everybody, Mark over here at Twanger's Turntable. I hope you're all doing well. If you're new to Twanger's Turntable, thank you for dropping by. I hope you'll find something you'll dig, you'll stick around. The content you'll find here was essentially me showing records, talking about my records. That's my format that I listen to most. I do stream music nowadays. I do have some CDs that left in my collection and cassettes as well. But if you're returning to my channel, you know all that. But and I really do appreciate the support. Just reached that milestone recently, and that's very kind of all of you to drop by and continue to drop by. So cheers to all of you. The vinyl community has brought a lot of great things to my experience here on YouTube since I'm joining here, probably coming up on 4 years. I think it'll be 4 years in November, thereabouts. And meeting lots of great people in the vinyl community specifically, but in other categories as well. I do enjoy other things that I watch on YouTube, but it's my bag is music and specifically vinyl. Which brings me to why I'm here today. I'm going to leave links, but I'm here for Richard over at Richard's Vinyl Taphouse, formerly known as Richard S, I guess, and he's celebrating a year, and this has been just a stupid year for me. I won't elaborate. I mean, it doesn't matter. I just haven't had a chance to introduce myself to a lot of newer channels, and when I do, it's typically via other channels that I watch, and so. I've known of Richard for a little while, and he's celebrating a year. So he started a thread, or a challenge, if you will, to show 3 to 5 albums that maybe are new to you from watching other channels, or maybe even artist bands you knew that existed, but you've been inspired or to give them another listen. So my background, basically, primarily in the 80s, was where I really started to buy my own music. Was hard rock, metal, that type of music. So there was a lot of bands, especially in that era, that I dismissed. So I'm finding it more enjoyable for me personally to revisit a lot of those now, because it's not that I don't give a lot of newer music a chance, but comparatively, the balance is definitely towards older music, 60s, 70s, 80s, some 90s. But beyond that, there's not much. It would be a very small percentage of what I listen to. But the vinyl community is a good way to introduce oneself to that. So I'm going to accept that challenge and respond. This will be my response to Richard's challenge of showing some items that were inspired or introduced to me by other vinyl community members. And I'm going to start off by saying I watched the Sunday Night Vinyl Confessions with Steve and Trevor over at their channel there. A is for B. A is for B. Easy for me to say. A is for Alice, B is for Bob, and C is for community. And I say community because I think Steve is one of those guys. He truly is an ambassador to the vinyl community. I've been following him essentially since he started, and then he rebooted his channel. And I really enjoy Steve's take on a lot of stuff and his knowledge to exactly what I just alluded to. A lot of the older stuff that maybe some of my older brothers were listening to. He's a little older than they were, so there's even stuff beyond that. So I really dig that. Trevor is similar age to myself. I think he's just 4 or 5 years younger, maybe a little more. I can't remember, but anyway, a lot of the same stuff. And so he was Richard, that is, was on Sunday Night Vinyl Confessions, and I'll leave links as I mentioned already. So I'm going to start off with that, and found out that I didn't find out. I already knew, but he was expanding on his Gary Numan collection, and he's a huge Gary Numan fan. So I just thought it was a good way to start with some of the stuff I have with the Pleasure Principle and Two Way Army, Gary Numan's first after Two Way Army, and then of course replicas. This one is actually called Gary Numan and Two Way Army, so there's still some connection there. Maybe they were undecided, or Gary was undecided which way he was going to go with that, but I don't know. Richard, you would know. Gary Numan, Telecon. And then I recently picked this one up. I saw Richard's show. I think Richard showed pretty much everything. not everything, but a lot. The dance album, Gary Newman Dance. I still want I Assassin and Warrior. I've been on the lookout for that. That's kind of where I had really gone into, not really gone in, but I wasn't listening to Gary Newman much anymore. Those were influenced by my older brother initially, and I mentioned that on the stream. And I have to mention that stream. I was so far behind that, people that were watching probably thought I was on another planet. And I guess in some ways I was, because I was sitting there waiting for the video to start for a good 15 minutes and realized I hadn't clicked on it. Anyway, enough of that. So, and I really like some of Newman's later stuff. Savage, I really like that. I really want to get that on vinyl. And there was a couple more. But so there you go, Richard. That's how I thought I would start off. Not that it was showing them was inspired by you, because I didn't know you were such a huge fan. But I'm going to start with another one that was inspired by Steve, who I just mentioned. And it's a band called Taste, and this is Rory Gallagher's band. Steve showed this album on his old channel, All the World's a Stage, and so I saw it within a day or two after watching his video at a record store, and I didn't grab it, and it was an old one, and I thought they wanted a lot for it. I passed on it, but then I regretted it, and so I went back the next day, and it was gone. But I did find this a short while later, a reissue, so I'm glad to have that. That's one that was definitely inspired by Steve. So I've got more than 5 here. I hope that's going to be okay. So I'll try and go through them quickly. Another one, this one is from Trevor. Trevor at Flat Round and Spun, or Flat Round and Drunk, as our buddy Gary likes to say. Misfire, product of the environment. Jesus, I'm all tongue twisted here, tongue tied. Good old school metal, thrash metal, very similar to that 80s. They have another one before this, but this was my introduction, thanks to Trevor, and I guess he was recommended this by Emma over at, I think it's 8 Vinyl Low, but it's really good stuff. So yeah, I'll leave links to all these guys. Great album, like I say, it's on that colored vinyl. I think these guys are from Chicago, Steve's territory. Next up, speaking of Gary, not that I didn't know about this artist, but I hadn't really listened to her in a long time, and had dismissed a lot of her stuff because it was just being played. There was a lot of reminders of a time that I was not really interested in remembering. So, but it's Leader Ford, and I think this is her second album from 1983. No, this one is from 1984. It says here. But not the big one. The big one she had was, I think, was in 88 with Kiss Me Deadly and Close My Eyes Forever, as she did with Ozzy. But I really dig it, actually. It's not that I wasn't a fan, I just didn't have any of her vinyl, so I was inspired to pick that up by Gary. Next up, this one, there's a couple of people to mention on this one, and I don't know who to attribute it to, but I know 2 people for sure and I knew about these guys as well right from the get-go, but it's Georgia Satellite. And one was Doug at the Auditory Vinyl. I think that's his name. Yeah, I'll leave links. He was showing this. I think he was doing this for his 4 self-titled that weren't their debut series he did. And I think Mike is showing this several times too, MGK Boston. So that's definitely inspired by others in the vinyl community. Inspired for me to pick it up on vinyl. Next up, this guy's a huge inspiration to me, and some of the videos he does, I really dig his videos. His passion for metal, his passion for things beyond just what I call heavy metal. He goes into much more, many of the other subgenres and whatnot. But it's Brett over at Headbangers Closet, and this band is called Havoc. This is an EP they put out, I think, last year, New Eyes, or maybe this year. But they do a great cover of Metallica here. I have the Beholder on here and a CCR cover, Commotion. Yeah, this is their 2024 EP from Denver. Denver, Richard. I believe I recall you were from Colorado, Denver, if I recall. They do have many albums, I guess, but this is an EP they put out in 2024. Next up, I'm not sure who to attribute this to. I believe it's either Aaron Muthalamer or Josh at the flip side. I'm going to go with both of them. Maybe even a little of Chris Profrey, because I know they all show this stuff at different times. And I was fully aware and dug Misfits, but I never really followed Glenn Danzig after the Misfits and Samhain, but his solo stuff. So I was inspired to pick this up. I haven't even shown this on my recent pickups yet, but that's to come. I got 2 here that I picked up recently of Danzig. So the debut, I think this is 88. Yeah, produced by Rick Rubin. And then the follow-up to that, Danzig 2, Lucifuge, and this was 1990. This one came out. So, and then these ones I had before those, I didn't get them in order, and I'm not a completist, but the ones I thought I would dig, I streamed them. Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. This is a killer album. They all are to me, so subjective, of course, the ones, what moves your meter. And then the fourth one, I believe, is this one. I may not have these in correct order. Pardon me if that's the case. Danzig I Luciferi 777. And then this one, I'll leave a link to the video for this. That I had a hell of a time getting this one, but I finally did get it. I think after about 12 attempts, believe it or not. Satan's Child, Danzig 666. Killer stuff. So that I'm going to credit either Josh, Aaron, or Chris. Take your pick. They've all shown Danzig a lot, and my nephew actually asked me years ago if I had any Danzig, so he comes to mind too, but he's not a Vinyl Community member that I know of anyway. Next up, these guys, Kicks. This was an early 80s. I think they're unfairly put into that hair metal category, and that's why I didn't check them out, full disclosure. I thought they were like a Bon Jovi and a Dokken, and I wasn't into those guys at the time. And 7,800 Degrees Fahrenheit, I didn't mind from Bon Jovi. Their debut, I didn't mind, but after that, I checked out. I didn't like the other stuff. Dokken, same way, but I really do dig those guys now. But John over at Bip Bop Boom, we were doing a stream, or I wasn't doing a stream. I was just part of the peanut gallery, and commented to me after I commented that they were playing some Kicks tunes, and I thought, wow, I really dig this. So he said, check out their first two albums. He thought I would really dig them, and so thanks, John. I really do. I don't have the first one yet. I've streamed it. It's hard to get on vinyl, but this is their second one from 1983, Cool Kids. And so yeah, I really dig that one. And last but not least, Brian over at Hub Tunes, which I've been watching almost from the beginning. I think we started around the same time. I don't watch them as much these days just because of other things, other priorities. I just don't watch as much YouTube in general these days. But Painted Shield, I saw him show this, and he was mentioning how this was a project of Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam, and that piqued my interest, and so I grabbed it. It's also got Matt Chamberlain on drums, Brittany Davies on the keyboards, and Mason Jennings. Now, I'm not as familiar with Mason Jennings, but this was released in 2021. And so, yeah, it was one of the first ones I watched, actually, I think. Not when I started my channel, because I've been watching YouTube for a while prior to that, but it was fairly early on. So that one goes out to Brian at Hub Tunes for inspiring me on that, because I really dig it. I think they've done one since then. I don't know, but I recall seeing something. But that's it. That's going to be my response to the challenge, Richard. Congratulations on your first year. I can't believe it's only been a year. It seems like longer than that. You seem to be and already a very important member of the vinyl community, very knowledgeable. I appreciate watching you present the content you provide. I do really appreciate that and enjoy it. So I will definitely check out more. Not watching your content says much more about me than what you're providing. I think you do a great job. So I'll leave links. I hope everybody will go check out Richard's channel, and these other people too. Check them all out. I know it's more than 3 to 5, but one of the things I enjoy doing is mentioning others in the vinyl community that are important to me, and their support to me is important. So it's paying it forward, sharing the love. So I'll leave it at that. I appreciate you all for stopping by and humoring me while I do this response. And I hope you enjoyed the content. And if you have any comments about any of these, please leave a comment below. I do enjoy that as well. And there's so many more. I always feel like I'm leaving some out, but I had to draw the line somewhere, and it's not for wanting to. But the video would be far too long, and I'm already going on to 15 minutes here, so I'll leave it at that for reals. So cheers, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope to see you again soon here at Twanger's Turntable. Until then, take care, and go spin some records. Check out Richard's channel, all these guys. And I'll leave it at that. Cheers, everyone. Bye.